Welcome to Wisdom and Truth, a place where we're only trying to be free, standing by the truth. So, trying to find this thing I was looking at. So I got into like a debate about science or just truth, really. And I ended up talking with this guy, and sometimes sometimes I'm not perfect. So sometimes I do have to stop and listen. But the problem that I have is I know already what people are going to say, so to speak, because it's always the same argument. You got to understand, like, people that are going to school, you're learning the same thing, so you're going to argue the same point. That's the crazy part of it. So that being said, it had me a little messed up for a second because so I'm pretty much making this video to explain I can't explain truth, but I can explain accepted truth. So that being said, accepted truth is believing in a theory even though it's only a theory. Accepted truth is believing in a history that was written so many years beyond that history. Okay. Accepted truth is accepting medications that they say can help you only because it can possibly help you. Right? Most medications kill people. So I don't know if you knew that. Right? That's accepted truth, though. When you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, you have, what can we use here? Ulcerative colitis. We have a medicine for you. But that medicine has a side effect. It could give you blood clots, maybe cause you a heart attack, all these things. Nothing is ever 100%. That's accepted truth. Accepted truth is something that you accept as truth, but you can't prove 100%. Right? Truth, which stands alone, is already at that 100%. It can't go up or down. You understand? It can't go up or down. Right? And I can't explain 100% truth. I can't. You can't. I can't. No one can. No one can, because we ain't been there yet. Right? There's something we got to learn here first in this lifetime before we can even get to the point of where we start to even understand the slightest of what's going on here. Okay? So don't be mistaken. If I do a video and I'm reading something, that doesn't mean I believe in anything I'm reading. I believe in nothing. Right? And I got to make that clear. I believe in nothing. I don't believe in the Bible. Why? Because it was written years after the fact. When you do history, see, that's the key. You got to research what they're saying about the things that they're saying. Right? So let's look at the Old Testament, for instance. Right? So we're looking at the Old Testament. We see these, let's say Israelites, right? Because, Abraham into Isaac into Jacob, it was only a few of them, right? Not necessarily, though. I'll get back to that. But with it, going with Isaac bloodline trail, right? So Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? And then, Jacob had 12 sons. One son went to Egypt, ended up saving everyone. And then 72 Jews, right? I think it was 72 of Jacob's house, might have even been 76, that went into Egypt following Joseph. Okay. So now, they're in Egypt, right? So here comes Moses on the scene, whatever 100 years later, and all this stuff starts to begin. Okay. And I don't necessarily have a problem with everything starting to begin at that point, but I do have a problem with everything starting to begin at that point. But we'll get to that. Right. So now we got these Israelites that free themselves from Egypt. And, the numbers historians and scholars tell us, and archaeologists, hundreds or millions, right? I don't think archaeologists does, because I don't think there's no proof of all these people being in the desert by means of where they said they were in the Bible. But so now we have these Israelites, right? And then let's just jump. We're going to jump ahead, right? We're going to really forget about the Egypt stuff and the 10 plagues and all this stuff going on. We'll be back. We'll come back to that. Now we're going to jump forward to King David's time, right? And now Israel is making a name for itself, right? And now it's conquering people, and it's doing this and it's doing that, right? Catch within the story, you got to catch the names of the enemies, right? Assyrians, Persia, the Hittites, the Medianites, all the ites, okay? So many people that surround them. Now you got to ask yourself, okay, this is what it says in the Bible. What does those other people groups' history say? Follow me now. That's why I haven't made a video. I don't know how many days it's been, but I haven't made a video. I've been watching Assyrians, Hittites, Spartans, that whole area, that whole region, Greece, everything over there, Athens, all of them. Okay. And in the Old Testament, right? It's when the Israelites got put in Babylon, right? And then there was a prophecy that this king was going to come from Persia, and he was going to allow the Israelites to go back home and build the second temple, right? Remember that part of the story? Okay. And how does the Bible express that story? It expresses it in a way that King Cyrus comes over, conquers Babylon, but not in a violent way, by the way. I don't know if it says that in the Bible. I would have to read the story again. But I know in this Assyrian history, he took it peacefully. The Babylonian top dudes, like the senators, if you want to call them that, they betrayed the king of Babylon at that time because the king wasn't doing Babylon rituals, so to speak. He wasn't doing what Babylon is supposed to believe as in gods and stuff. He was adopting other gods from other places. So then he tried to repent, I guess, and came back and tried to hide all the things because he knew the imminent battle was coming. But the point is this. So in the Bible, it tells you that Cyrus is a prophecy. Cyrus is going to come back, tell the Israelites they can go home and build their temple. What they don't tell you is Cyrus, when he came and conquered Babylon, Israelites wasn't the only people captivated by Babylon. So when Cyrus came back, and Cyrus is known through history as being the greatest king. Okay, he was the greatest king. Why? Because he was a peaceful, deal-making king. And when he conquered Babylon and any other place that he conquered, he let the people that was there enslaved go back to where they were from and worship their gods. That's why you got to go deeper into the stories, right? You find out Moses ain't a historical figure. He's more of a legend, right? Yes, this guy may have existed, but he's in a legend status. You can't, there's criteria to history. There's criteria to things, right? And especially when you're talking about a single person, a man or woman, whatever you're talking about, they got to find either the body where that person was buried. They have to find something that was talked about in literature, and they got to find out some historical stuff. Is other people talking about these people? Is other people talking about this guy? Right? King David is still not only in the Bible is he King David. On the outside in archaeology world, it only says House of David and stuff. And that could have been any David. Names are popular. Right? And another funny thing that you see when you're looking into other history outside of what you think is true in your history, or even in the Bible, because that ain't even your history, that's Jewish history. But even in the Bible, when you believe that's God's word, and he's trying to tell you something. And I'm not saying it's not God's word. I believe all words are God's word, even the bad ones, because it's only bad by intent. Right? I can say, oh man, go F yourself. And that's insulting. That's disrespectful. But if me and you were watching a football game and I'm like, yeah, that was a great touchdown. Different perspective. No. right? A curse is a curse. A curse is when you're willing harm on another person. You're wishing harm on someone. You're hoping for harm on someone. You're hoping for ill intent. Not cursing is just being blessed and happy in the moment, right? You can say whatever you want to say. Half of these words that we say anyway are made up. English language is only 1,400 years old. That's it. Like, I don't know if you knew, like, I don't know if I blew a rocket in your mind, but it's only 1,400 years old, the English language. Okay, that's what I mean by you got to dig deeper, right? Yes, you listen. Can everything bring you to it? Yes. The truth is like a tree, and there's many branches to that tree, and each one of those branches has a concept to that truth. Right. So what I'm saying, yes, Islam has truth. Christianity has truth. Buddhism has truth. Hinduism has truth. Satanistic people have truth. Do they not? If they're on the enemy side, they obviously got to know the other side. Because then without the other side, you don't even have your satanic side. Without a God, you can't be Satan. You can't worship Satan. There's no Satan going down here. All right. But you just got to do so. Get into this like debate sort of or conversation with this guy. You know, there came a point where we actually, and it, ironic, we were talking about how old the Earth is. So I'm like, you really think the Earth is 4.5 billion years old? He's like, absolutely, right? And I'm like, how do they know? That's the question I always ask. How do they know? How can they possibly know how old the Earth is? Science is a math equation that is, and I don't want to pull up nothing to read today, so I'm not going to do it. But the next video, I'm going into scientific method. What's the definition? How it even started, right? People don't even understand the science that we know today ain't even the science that started when it started. And yes, if you Google how long has science been around, when was the first time we did science, they're going to bring you back to the Egyptians, the Mesopotamians, the Samaritans, even Babylonians, right? Because they had mathematics, right? And all right, you could put that in the category of science, but you can't just say that's all science and that's where it started from if it's only about mathematics and the stars in the sky. And then what does that say to us? Like, I don't think we're the smartest people that ever hit planet Earth. We are not the smartest generation. We are the dumbest, dumbed down, de-evolutionalized race of people, and all of us, the whole humankind that has ever hit the planet. And we think we're so smart. Just like when you're a parent and you got those kids that think they know it all. I was a kid that thought I knew it all. Yeah, that's the generation we live in today. A whole bunch of people that think they know it all when they don't know nothing. All right. And listen, test me. Test on what I'm saying to you. Okay. No one knows the truth. Everything is just accepting the truth by what the popularity says or majority vote, which is actually not a majority because minority of the people run the world. There's a minority of people that run the world, but yet they got us majority of the people in the world thinking we're a minority. That don't even make sense. Listen, this is another key element in history. All throughout history, even I was just watching Spartan shit today. So even in Sparta, right? Even the same concept of the Exodus with Moses and why that Pharaoh or whatever Pharaoh was at the time that enslaved Israel, right? He saw that, and the Bible says that, right? He saw that the people were getting greater than him. There was more Israelites than were Egyptians, so he had to let me put a tie on this. We got to tie these up. We can't. What the hell? They're almost more than us. Sparta went through the same thing. Sparta became a force twice. So they were a force back in the day, like I think throughout their, what I was into on their history, probably I think 800 BC into like around the Bible, 500 BC stuff. So Sparta controlled everything in that area. The people that they conquered their lands right close to them, I think they were called like the Hodis or something. Either way, these people got greater in multitude. There came a point this is when Sparta was at first once they the 300 stuff and stuff at this time, they were a force to be reckoned with, but now their force was down to 3,000 men. Right, so they tried to keep control of what was going on, but they ended up dwindling out. They were the warriors anyway, so eventually you're just going to run out anyway. But the point is, same as in Egypt, the Pharaoh was threatened by the slaves being more than them, Sparta got on the same boat and they started going out on all these stupid ass wars and lost. What's up, freedom fighter? And lost all these people. So like, history isn't true, right? The Bible isn't true. Yahweh is not the name of the creator God. I promise you. I promise you. Right? Gods don't change names. Right? Plus, if you believe in Yahweh and you believe in the Bible, then Yahweh said you can never know my name. He said that. He said it. He said it. You can never know my name. Okay, now we're going to go back to Egypt and Moses. So now when Moses came out of Egypt, right, with all his people, who did he come into? The same guy he came into when he left when he was 40 years old and he killed the Egyptian guy, right? He ran away, right? When he was 40 years old, he ran away, went into the desert, went to Midian, found the wife, and started working for the father-in-law, her father. Her father, if you didn't know, the Midianites are one of Abraham's son's tribes, right? Once you know, and that's who surrounded Egypt. The Midianites, and oh my God, I can't forget. I forgot the other name. But there's 8. Listen, Abraham had 8 sons. Okay, we know about Isaac. That's the Bible son, the Jewish son. We know about Ishmael. That's the Muslim son. There were 6 other sons. 6 other sons. One of those sons just happened to be Midian. And he is the founder and father of the Midianites. Okay. And that's who Moses was being helped by throughout the Exodus. And it came a point where the people made that golden calf and the God that Moses was talking to bounced. God can't help you. Right. It's almost, and I say people be saying this the wrong way. God only helps people that help themselves. Right. Number one. And if I probably emailed you if I talked to you. So I emailed you this Jewish rabbi guy that talks about what do you really need? Right? He was deep, so deep to the point of this. You didn't ask for any of this. You didn't ask to be born. So what do you need? What do you truly need? Right? You come into a world where they tell you what you need. They tell you how you're supposed to be. They tell you what to do, especially in our generation now. They tell you got to go this career path. You got to study this. You got to bop, 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 bop. They just give you direction, but the direction is only on a physical realm. Right? I just watched this guy. I just be subscribed to him. He be reading the Nagamati text too. And I was watching this video today and he was talking about the gospel of truth. Right. And just it's just only 2 paragraphs. In the first paragraph, it says the whole gospel, the whole message of Jesus Christ right there. Right. We're here on a mission. Right. We don't need, in essence, we don't need the Father. Right. We didn't ask to be born. So understand what I'm saying to you. We don't need God in the respect of we didn't ask to come here. Right. Did you ask to come here? Did you ask to be born? Did you ask for your name? And I ain't talking about no legally changed name. Did you ask for your birth name? Okay. None of that you asked for. You didn't ask for any of that. Hey, I want to be Italian. You didn't come do that. You didn't do that. No one did that. No one has done that. And no one has complained about not being born. Okay. But we're all here. We didn't ask to work. We didn't have to slave away at whatever job we could possibly find just to make ends meet. We didn't ask to struggle when we have families. We didn't ask to struggle with these high interest rates when they want to give us a house or let us buy a house that's truly not ours in the first place because you're still going to pay your taxes on it till you die. And if you die, you're probably going to lose it in the auction if you don't have family to leave it behind to. Right? This is the world that you just got brought into. So just like the whole purpose of this channel is wisdom and truth, it's the purpose of this journey of this life. And why did I start? Because I see that the purpose is not what they tell me it is, no matter which way I look. Okay. I look at the sun. I say, damn, how is that 93 million miles away? That's what they tell me. Right. I say, they tell me where the moon is. 2,100 feet or miles above us. Okay. 2132, I think. But it doesn't spin. Did you ever notice that? The moon doesn't spin. Everything else in the solar system spins besides the moon. What? Really? I didn't know. Shit. Why doesn't it? And then it'll tell you some sob-ass story because they truly don't know. Science don't know science, right? If they really knew water was H2O, follow me. And one of the biggest problems we have in third world countries, or so they say, is water. But we can't recreate water. That means we don't know it. That means we don't know it. Right? If you can't see that, and I've seen somebody try to make water out of it. They say they can't make enough of it, first of all. They can make little amounts, but they can't make enough. And the process will possibly explode on them. And I've seen that happen. I've seen a dude take hydrogen out of water by electricity. We're introducing things. So he introduced electricity to the water, divided the hydrogen from one side with the negative, and the oxygen from the other test tube with the positive. Right, and then he lit a match. He put the match next to the hydrogen. He took the test tube out. He let it fill up the hydrogen, and then poof. Right, and then he blew the match out, put it into the oxygen, and then lit back up. But he can't put those two things back together again to create water. That's what I mean by science doesn't know anything. Okay, funny thing. Me and my girl were doing something when we're doing this thing that we're doing. Not freaky stuff. We were watching videos. Right, because I'm always watching videos, and for some reason I came up with the Ken Ham and Bill Nye the Science Guy debate when they were in the Ark. And listen, I like Bill Nye the Science Guy, even though he's on some other stuff. He's a great debater. I can say that. Okay, and I have never seen him, and I've seen a lot of his debates, and I've never seen him lose a debate. Okay, and usually his debates are science versus God. Okay, and he destroys the shit out of everyone that comes at him with a God. Okay, he got so in this. Look it up. It's Bill Nye the Science Guy with Ken Ham the Creationalist in the Ark. They're touring the Ark and they're having a debate. They're walking around. Ken Ham ended up building an Ark as big as the one in the Bible and making like a walkthrough thing, explaining to you things that he doesn't even know the truth, but. Whatever. He's going off a book. He did build it out of the book. And I'm not, listen, we're all blinded. And we all think we know truth, but not comprehending that we only know what we know because whoever brought us here taught us what we know. And I mean that by your parents, your family that's around you when you were growing up, whoever, whatever influence you had in your life, people around you, all, especially when you're a child, because that's when you absorb most of the stuff. So especially when you're a child, all that stuff growing up, those are the people that influence what you are, who you are, and what you're thinking about. Period. Even if you think you're your own person, you're really not. You're still thinking like they taught you to think. You're acting like they taught you to act. And listen, granted, forgive me if you're a person like me. I'm a loner type of dude. So most of my childhood is spent by myself. Like I had my altercations in life, I guess, having fun. But most of the time I'm in my own head by myself. Okay. Like even in my time frame now, the last year, I just been with my loves and stuff. But in essence, just in my house by myself, looking for, seeking the foundation of which I believe we all can find through the life we live by the creator that created it. Okay. So I do believe in a creator. I just don't believe in any God in the world. I don't believe in any scripture whatsoever. Right. When I read them, I'm looking for the common denominators and things. Right. So for instance, like the Nag Hammadi text. Right. I read the Nag Hammadi text. It got a lot of stuff about Jesus. It talks a lot about Jesus. Right. And yeah, it got some, your crazy concepts of, Yalla broth and Sophia, but those are even relatable. But how that scripture is written is relatable. You can understand it. And not saying you can't understand the Bible. I can understand it too. Right. But what you got to understand, the Nag Hammadi text was written for a purpose. The Bible was written for a purpose. The Quran was written for a purpose. And it's not the purpose of the creator, right? It's not that purpose. I promise you. Now, biblically, if you want to look at it, God did say, God did say, I will use evil for good. In my belief, I feel like the Father, that's exactly, he's an unconditional loving creator, because if he wasn't, then there's nothing to live for. Right. And I'm not saying it in a suicidal way, but if there's not an unconditional loving creator, because that's who I believe in. Right. That's all the signs. I prayed. He came to me. He brings me the information that I bring to you. He took me on the steps to where I am today, and I still got more steps to climb. Like, I'm not saying I'm there. I've still got more steps to climb. The world is a hard place to let go of in every aspect, and that's really what you got to do to be free. You got to let go of the world in every aspect. Forget it all. Forget the loves of your life. Listen, when you see the truth, then you realize some of the stuff that's in the Bible that Jesus says that you can discern. And when I mean discern, it's mostly love versus hate, but it's love for everyone. So if there's something that's like, oh yeah, let's love these people, but not these people, then that's not what I'm talking about at all. At all. Zero, not at all. I'm talking about the love for everyone. The love for the Muslim, the Christian, the Buddhist, the Hindu, the Catholic, the medicine man in a village, the president, politicians, doctors, everyone. If it's not beneficial for everyone, then I can't stand with that. And I believe the Creator created us for a reason, right? If you really look at the concept of the God in the Bible made you for a different type of thing. He wanted some people to follow him, be a slave, and go conquer people, right? He's telling you not to kill, but yet he's telling his people, go out, kill all of them, every woman, man, and child. That's a different God. That's not the God Jesus came down preaching if you're a Jesus follower. If you're a Jesus follower, you got to exclude the whole Old Testament. There's not one thing in that Old Testament that said anything about Jesus besides God saying he's sending a messenger. If you're thinking Jesus was talked about in Isaiah, you're tripping. I don't want to do a video on it, and I'll break it down as simply as this. The person they're talking about in that story of Isaiah, and I think it's chapters 5 and 6 maybe, but the people they're talking about is Israel. They're not talking about anyone else but Israel. And you can't take that as Jesus, because you can take whatever you want. But Jesus was, they led him outside the city, right? In one prophecy. They led 2 other guys outside the city too. And they led everybody else they crucified out in the city too. They went all on the hill of Golgotha, wherever the hell they went. They went right up there to Calvary. They all went, everybody, right? And sad for the guys that got the light pole treatment. They got hung on the light poles. They've been crucifying people forever. So there's no special thing in the crucifixion as far as Jesus goes, only to point out what the world truly is, period. The world hung him on a cross for one reason and one reason only. He was non-profitable to the world. If he's feeding people for free, healing people that don't need medical now because you got Jesus hanging out, bringing people back from the dead, and I don't think these were miracles in any way. A miracle is something totally different than what they're trying to blindly lead you into. So when you can't do it, you're like, oh man, I can't do this. Or you're just thinking it's too much into it to get there, right? You're thinking you got to be a son, the Son of God, which they represent Jesus as. But when I asked this Christian, I said, are we children of God too? He said, yeah. I said, then how's Jesus more than us? Right? Jesus was a woke dude. 100%. I think there was no one else that hit the planet Earth, even to Buddha and all of them. There was no one else that hit the planet Earth like Jesus, period. Is Jesus the way, the truth, and the life? Absolutely. All day, every day. All day, every day. Why is that? Because when you research the real Jesus, like when you're getting deep into Jesus, and you like, especially, I come from like a Christian type of world, right? So my first pursuit into really investigating stuff was I wanted to debate, so to speak. I wanted to go. I wanted to defend the Bible. I felt as though there was some truth to the Bible being the word of God. So I'm like, yes. I go to a couple of little school, start talking to a lot of pastors, getting some info. And then you start to realize, like, why do I have to fight for God? Why would I have to fight for God? Right? Then you start, hey, you can't read this book, that book, and they're trying to give you the history on why we don't read these books. And because this book don't talk about God, but the book of Esther don't even talk about God at all. But it's in the Bible. The whole story. Is it Ruth? The story of Ruth. Is it Ruth? It's probably not Ruth. But the story of the Jewish girl that married the king and then, helped the people out. We just got to wake up to the truth that everything is a lie. Right? Everything is accepted truth. Everything is a theory, even religion. right? Science, when it first science first started in the 16th century, as far as the science that we know of, or the start of the science we know of today. The science we know of today is called modern science. It's on some other shit. Okay, it's on some serious other shit. So let me just tell you this. So in the beginning of science, right, there was these. I might have to find this to read this. No, I probably don't. So in the beginning of science, it started out with philosophers, historians, I guess medicine people. Like, is that peer? So if you look into science, there is a such thing as peer evidence. It's almost like, a collective people get in a room and they have these discussions and they tell each other their theories and try to prove their theories. So this was like how science first started. There was this group of people who just wanted to get some knowledge and understand things around them. They came together. So like I think everything started off in a positive. It's just that negative entity came inside of it and then took advantage of the situation for the benefit of them on selfish needs, not the benefit of the all. So in the 16th century, these people come together. They were called the Royal. The Royal Society. Okay, so the science club was called, and then they changed their name again. Like I'll put the video on one of my playlists. But the point is this: their mantra, okay, what they went off of, right? Their hypocritical oath, so to speak, was, hey, if don't believe anything that anyone tells you unless you yourself can prove it. Right? So don't believe anyone that tells you anything that has to do with anything unless you can prove it yourself. We can, I guess, prove gravity, or we could prove that what comes up must come down, right? Because I don't think science knows what gravity is. I just think they name something based upon what they think gravity does. And that's almost just like what I said with the water. They know what water is, so to speak, by their definition, right? You got to these smart ass people or these scholars. College hasn't always been around. Like the college is like 3-4, and I'm giving it some, right? I don't even think it's that old, but we'll give it 300-400 years. Okay, I even give it 500 years. Okay, that's how new it is. Okay, so when I'm debating with or talking to this guy, right? He's like, "Oh, well, I'm not qualified enough." The fuck? That's the problem. You feel as though you're not qualified for half of the knowledge you have. You feel as though there's someone else that's more qualified than you to know more than you. But you're forgetting it's all about intent. It's all about what is their drive, right? And I'll say that it's just like society. Society claims they want nobody to be bad. They want crime to stop. They want this, that. They can't afford that. If crime stopped, no more jobs for cops, no more jobs for judges, no more jobs for lawyers or prosecutors, and then you might as well just keep going up the damn chain, right? They don't want you to understand that true freedom is self-government. You don't need no one above. There's no one that has authority over you. And when you start living that way and living that way for the love of all, then you're going to be stuck in a slave in this land of forgetfulness for all eternity. And then you'll truly understand what hell is, because we live it every day here. Right? Hell is described. And first of all, hell ain't even in the Bible like that, just so you know, right? Plato or Socrates was the one to come up with the concept of heaven and hell, that people that are bad are going to spend eternity somewhere, and that people are good are going to go to a good place. That's not the Father I follow. The Father I follow, everyone makes it in. Everyone makes it in. And you're like, no, how can that be? There's so many evil people out there. You know why? Because you're just as evil, number one. Number one, you're just as evil. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. You just don't know it. You just haven't woken up. See, when you wake up, you see things a different way. You don't see color no more. You just see people, right? And I promise you'll start seeing the insides of those people. You'll start seeing that fruit that those people possess. Just free your mind. You don't need a book. I promise you. You don't need any book. All books are made by men. All books are made by men. And yes, everything can be inspired by the Father all day, all day, all day. But then man has to write it down. Right? You ever see something happen where you are, or like you're walking or something happens and all of a sudden you're like, your first reaction is to try to go and help, but then all of a sudden your mind changes for you, like, right? You drive and you see a an old lady changing a tire on the side of the road. Like, I'll probably pull over. But there's some people, oh shit, no, I'm too far away already. Like, you start making excuses. I'm already 8 miles away. Like, I can't reverse down the highway. What am I gonna do? Get off? I'm gonna get lost. I don't even know where I am. You just make excuses. Yeah, that's the same concept. That's the same concept, right? The truth is in everything, and more importantly, it's in you. I don't know how many times I got to say that. It's in you. The Bible says that. Jesus says that. Jesus says it's in you. Even the Old Testament says it's in you. Muslims, the Quran says it's in you. Buddha said it's in you. You are one with the universe. It's in you. Hindus, it's in you. Brahma is in you. To the Hindus, it's more of a hide and seek game. You're hiding from yourself. Right? It's your fleshly self versus your spirit self. Like, there's a part of you that belongs to the Father. There's a part of you that belongs to the Creator. He created you for a reason. What did he create you for? Because he needs you. He needed you to come into the world. He needed you to come into the world and figure him out. Seek him diligently so you can figure him out, because he's the only thing that's important. And that should be in everyone's life. The only thing that our key, when we're raising our children, we should be raising our children in the direction of figuring out who the hell God is or who the Father is. Period. Put them on a journey. Let's find out what life is. Let's find the creator of life, son. Let's do that today, because that's what you got to do. Instead, we're like, oh, son, let's get ready for your math test. Hey, let's get ready for your history test. That's full of shit anyway. Hey, let's get ready for your science exam that they're teaching you and programming you to think the way they think. Listen, it's truth. That's truth. That's truth. That's truth. I don't even know what I'm going to say until I'm going to say it. When I'm clicking the button to start a video, I have this idea, but I never even get to that idea the whole time, because the Father has me. Period. He has me. He brings me in a direction, hopefully to, tweak your interest. Like, oh shit, maybe. Yes, maybe. There is, listen, even to like old Samaritan and Mesopotamian, right? There's Enki and Enlil, there's Marduk, Baal, right? He was mentioned in the Bible, that god. Right? The gods always change their name. Don't you find that odd? All the gods change their name all the time. Can't be gods then, can they? And I'm pretty sure if Enki and Enlil was still here, we would know them if they were known like that. But these are also concepts. Yeah, listen, I don't doubt that anything that's mythical was true. I don't doubt that at all. I think Zeus was a real dude. I think Hercules was real. I think Apollo, Prometheus, whoever else, Medusa, I think they all were real. These are people. I think they're real people. I think there were, and I guess Greek and Roman time, there was Mount Olympus. I think they lived up there. You see that just in the movie 300. You find out King Darius was a real dude. He was a real guy that went trying to conquer everything, which he successfully did. And listen, he's related to Cyrus, the one that freed everyone to go back and worship their gods. Right? The point is this, right? Listen, so Israel has a story in the Old Testament about a king that comes back and sends them to go build their temple, but they make it sound like they're the only one. And Cyrus only believed in this God. No, he sent all the people in that, everyone. He sent everyone back to their homeland to worship who they wanted to. He was the first king to declare freedom of religion. That's why he was the greatest king. He rather settled things with love and for the all of everyone involved, opposed to just for his selfish needs. I'm just saying, good king. He was good. Look through it. Listen, you have to, man. You have to. Right? When people talk about Donald Trump or Hitler, it's like, dude, this dude wasn't by himself. right? No one is going to stand up by themselves and punk the world, and you're going to do what I'm going to. Hey, guys, you're going to do what I tell you to do. I'm Hitler. No, there was people behind him. Just like if you think the president makes any difference at all, no, he's just a fucking puppet on a string. Okay, yeah, okay, you can go red or blue. Ironically, Bloods are red. Bloods and Crips are the same colors, but you can go red or blue. Democrat, Republican, whatever you want to do, they work for the same person. And you think, no, they work for the people. They don't work for the people. This country was made in 1776 when they signed that shit. No, nothing for anybody that was a slave, which slave is misconception. Slave at that time meant they were indebted for something. That's how they became a slave. So yes, they probably got hustled. Definitely probably got hustled. I ain't gonna doubt that. I ain't gonna doubt that, you know, they might have killed off all the adults, had the kids, and just brought the kid. I ain't gonna doubt that. Can't. But sooner or later, a people wakes up, says, hey, am I living this dream? Gotta get the hell out of here. What the hell is going on here? But ironically, in that situation, they didn't run back home. They ran back to be just like the ones that was in captivating them. Okay, that's the biggest hustle. If you control the knowledge, what does that mean to control the knowledge? You make a word gravity, you say, oh, this is magnetism, this is Megatron, this is Optimus Prime, this is E equals MC squared, this is H2O, this is O2O to the O, this is whatever it is. They're defining it. They're giving you the definition. Right? I looked up truth in a few videos ago, right? And it gave you 3 different definitions. It said truth that stands alone, undeniable, truth that is accepted as fact, and then some other truth. How can you have 3 definitions to truth? That's our problem in the world. We have so many definitions. There's so many different versions of love. No, there's only one love. There's only one love for anyone. Your mama, your father, your brother, your sister, your girl, your husband, your wife, your kids, your cousins, whoever the hell you love, there's only one love, and that's unconditional love. Or you don't love them. Don't love them. Put it to the test. You got a boyfriend, girlfriend. Think about them in the worst case scenario. They got an accident, ruin their face. Half their face is missing. You still love them? You still going to be with them? You still going to give them the kiss on the half a lip? You still going to be with your mate? Whoa, what's the... I think my camera's on acid. Maybe it's this thing. Like that's unconditional love. But hey, society gives you so many different definitions that sometimes it gets lost in translation. Funny. But then we don't think anything else was lost in translation from the beginning of time till now. Come on. So with the Ken Ham thing. So back to science, right? The people asked, or Ken Ham asked them, hey, what is how old is the earth? He said 4.5 billion years old. He said, well, how do you know? He said, well, it's the rocks, right? And then, you know, Bill Nye is kind of like cocky, so he turns to the crowd because there's a crowd following him through their tour and their debate. So he turns to the crowd and says, people, listen, okay? The way we know how old things are is we study rocks. And granted, the age of the rock is not inscribed on the rock. But if you go to universities, if you go take some geology courses, you will know the same steps we take. Did you catch that? He said, if you go to the universities, if you go to the courses, if you study it, you can know just like I know. Creating the knowledge. You learn that knowledge. Now you're fighting that same knowledge. Nothing else can make sense to you. That's like being a Christian, and the only thing you're holding dear to you is the book, and you're saying the book is God's word, but yet in the book, in 2 specific places, it says this is not the word of God. The word of God is a person, a who, a messenger, with only one message. And this is going to be the first time you ever hear the message and the only time you're going to hear the message. You think I'm lying. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. Listen, I'm not even preaching the message. That's how serious it is, right? Because I'm over here saying that these dudes are lying and accept the truth, even though I don't hate on them. Do you? Listen, I can't knock a hustle. I understand through being free, by understanding that me and the Father are one because the Father is within me, okay? That I have to open up my own Christ, that I got to have my Christ ascend in me. I know this because I know I'm a child of the Creator because I didn't ask to be here. I did not ask to be born. And quite honestly, there was a big part of my life I wish I wasn't because I didn't fit here. Right? I'm a mixed breed brought into a world that my mix is at odds with each other for my whole life, even prior to it being, and probably way after I die to still be here. Right? I'm thinking, oh, I'm Martin Luther King's dream. Right? The black kid played with the white kid, and now it's me, and it's still the same shit. Right? So I understand that the dream died with Martin Luther King. Do you? Right? That's what I'm saying. The dream died with Jesus. Did you see it? Did you? Because he didn't die on the cross to forgive our sins. I promise you that. He didn't die on the cross to bring us any type of salvation. I promise you that. He died on the cross to show us exactly what our sin is. And our sin is we don't really believe in God as the provider for us. We look to the world to make money. We look to the world to go get food. We look to the world to pay rent. We look to the world, and then we're fearsome of these things. We get a job. We can't afford to lose our job. So in essence, that makes us a slave. And unless you're doing something that you love, you are enslaved. If you had a childhood dream and now you're behind some desk in the stock market, you didn't follow your dream. You didn't use the gifts God gave you. You went with the advice that you were taught and brought up to understand to work in this world, right? That's all school is. That's all the school system is. They figured out a hustle to make your kids go to school for, 17, 18 years of their life, or no, less than that. So 13, 14 years of their life, if you throw some pre-K in there, to be programmed to accept authority. Accept the fact that you wrote this down and got the right answer, but the problem's wrong because you didn't do it the way I told you to. Understand. Okay? You listen. Free your mind. Right? And that so does that sound like the science I explained to you? And look it up yourself. Science started in the 1600s. I can't remember the guy's names right now, but it started. I don't want to, like I said, I didn't want to look up nothing, but it started in the 1600s. And the mantra was, if someone says to you something and they can't prove it, or you can't prove it yourself, if it's not for the common man to prove, it's not true. Be careful what you're thinking as truth. Be careful what you're accepting as truth, because it's not true. Right? Bill Nye said they could prove in the debate. He said we proved evolution. No, you didn't. And then he said it too. He said, "Oh, it takes too long." He said, "Yes, we did." And then he said, "It takes too long to see." So how can I expect to believe this guy that wasn't here 4.5 billion years ago when the scientific math equation is E plus its O equals their truth? So observation plus experimentation equals the truth. If no one was here to observe it, how can it equal the truth? Right? If the only means of observing anything is through a telescope or a video monitor from something that's floating in space, how do we know there's gases and this is the equivalent and this is how much gas is, and there's 80% of this gas on this planet? We don't. Right? Bill Nye even said, hey, we thought Pluto was a planet at one time, and then we found out we were wrong. That's accepted truth. You're accepting the fact that what they're saying is true, even though it may be wrong. We're accepting the justice system the way it is, even though we know it's failing. It's failed. There's people that did 20, 30 years and are innocent. And they were put in jail because of DNA. But then upgraded DNA cleared their name. What? Yes. Like, I don't think you know that. Right? The average fingerprint matches up to like an average number of people in the world. It's all dependent who's where in the world at the time they're running the damn fingerprint. They run your fingerprint, you're in that town, then most likely they're coming for you. But if it matches up to people that are in like California or in another country, they're not coming for them because they're not in the area that the crime happened. Come on. Most crimes are solved by rats, by people. Not rat. I didn't mean to say it like that because that's a bad way to say it. That's a bad way to say it. It's not. There's no. You can't be wrong for telling the truth. That's bottom line. So it's not a rat, but most of the police investigations get solved because of witnesses, people that are telling on people that are coming and calling the anonymous hotline. Hey, it was Charlie. That's what's going on there. Okay, trust me. That's why all you gotta do is watch a cop show. The live cop shows, like 48 Hours or whatever. Even the old cops, watch them and you'll see how they talk to these people, right? It's yes, you are innocent until proven guilty, but as you're innocent, they're gonna treat you like you're guilty to prove you're innocent, so to speak. I know you were there, right? They do this. This is strategic. This is what they do when they put you in a room and start questioning you. They start telling you lies. This one told us this already. Just tell us. They do this until you say, I need a lawyer. As soon as you need a lawyer, their case is garbage. I promise you. As soon as you say you need a lawyer, their case is they have nothing. If they're trying to get information from you, they have nothing. The best thing they can ever do is have you confess. And if you never confess, they have to prove it. Right? For them to kill Jesus, there was false witnesses. Yeah, he was blasphemy. Right? They killed him because he said him and the Father were one. That's why he killed him. Even though he said, didn't it say in your Psalms 82, yea, are gods? Right? I don't really believe in angels and demons like that. Not like that. Not like I used to, but not like that. I think we are those angels and demons. Right? Either way you look at it. Satan has to get to us and manipulate us and tempt us to go a certain way. And we have to find God to go a certain way. Right? But both live through us. Right? The Father comes in the world through us. Satan comes into the physical world through us. Because I'm pretty sure Satan would just show his face. And most people would just bow down and worship him anyway. So why wouldn't he just do that? Right? That would be so easy. They wouldn't have to go through. Jesus didn't even have to come here. If the devil could just show his face and hey guys, this is me right here. Yeah, you thought I had a tail and some horns. Ha ha. I'm Brad Pitt, bitches. Like, oh man. So sometimes you gotta look at it like, oh man. Like the truth is there. 100% the truth is there. How are you gonna find that truth? It's only up to you. I can't bring you there. No one else can bring you there. Just like sometimes the science and they trick you into these things like the vaccines and stuff like that. Why? Because that's the best they got. And that's acceptable to some people. All right, well, if that's the best you got, that's the route I'm gonna have to go. What? Just like these have people kill themselves, right? In the spy world, and they take the pills and they foam in the mouth and the cyanide pills, and they kill themselves so that nobody gets the information. That's crazy. This is what you're doing for what? What are you doing this for? Who said do this? Right? You didn't even ask to do this. You didn't ask to be here. And once you wake up and realize that, let the evil do whatever they want to do and bring you right to the cross and nail you right next to fucking Jesus. Seriously. That's the only way out. And then you're going to come right back. And people may see you for a minute and then you're going to fade away. Because you can't be here. Like it's almost like cheating. That's almost like thinking that if Jesus is the only Son of God, the begotten only Son of God, then what is the advantage for any of us? He had to send this special creature into the world to save us because we couldn't save ourselves. But yet, when he walked on the earth and the stories that we have that he's talking to us about is telling us to free ourselves. No. Yes, he is. Listen to what he's saying. When he says these beatitudes, blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the mournful, blessed are the ones that mourn, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the peacekeepers, blessed are the ones that get persecuted. That's everyone. Right? The people that are going to war are in the peace too. They just think peace is going to come by destroying everyone else. And so be it, let it be. Because everything that has to pass has to pass. No one's going to understand what the Father is talking about with this unconditional love and forgiveness for everyone. And it has to be for the all or nothing. No one's going to understand it until they lose everything and realize that everything they were holding so dear to was nothing. So sometimes doing nothing is doing something. And just like doing something is like you didn't even do nothing. It just threw more fuel on the fire. Didn't even fix the problem. right? Sometimes if we just step back and stop listening to the drama and the negativity in the world, right? If we didn't get offended by names that people are calling us, right? And the names that are calling of it, if it's how you say it is, and it's a racial game, and these people are in control, and they've been in control, and they gave us these names, then why are we using these names? Why are we even giving authority to these names? Just like we give authority to the dollar bill. Without the dollar bill, without us, what can the dollar bill do? But just wither away and mildew or something in the corner. Right? We're making, look, and then that's the concept of Jesus. The concept of Jesus gives you, oh yeah, you got to be a sacrifice, but you're sacrificing for the wrong stuff. Or you don't even comprehend the fact that Jesus is saying you got to be your own sacrifice. Right? God doesn't need blood sacrifice. Satan needs to get rid of you. And as you saw in his story, the Jews, the Romans, everyone wanted to get rid of him in essence, except for the people that really was like, oh shoot, I see the truth. I don't think I should really be doing this, but they did it anyway because their truth was accepted truth. Right? When Pontius Pilate and Jesus was talking in one of the things, Pontius Pilate was, what do you know about this? I got to answer to Caesar. Well, give Caesar what is Caesar. Deuces. Whatever. Right? That's how you got to be. Jesus never said anything about money. He said the opposite of money. So if you're a Christian living the life, living in that 6-bedroom house with just you and your wife or husband, what are you doing? If you're following Jesus, like you don't have to follow Jesus, you can do you. But I'm just saying, if you're following, like that's the thing in Acts. I think everybody missed that in the book of Acts. In the book of Acts, there was a different Christian in the first couple chapters than it was getting later on. All right, in the first couple chapters, the Christians put all their stuff together as one, lived in a community, were self-reliant with each other, and didn't need no outside authority to help them. Oh, we can't have people think like that. Then you crush everything. That's what a lot of people don't understand. If you don't go to work every day, you crush the system. And I'm, maybe one person, But like I said, there's not enough jobs in America for people. And you may not believe that, but since those states are starting to take off the unemployment extra, they're coming across problems where there's not enough jobs to fill, or there's not enough people to, or no, yeah, there's not enough jobs to fill. So every job is filled, and they still have unemployed people. That's because there's not enough jobs in America for everyone that can work in America. I promise you. And the system wouldn't work if there was. That's the deception. The system wouldn't work if it does. They have you enslaving yourself. That's all I can say. They have you enslaved. Look, I just told you that there's only 2 points, or there's only 1 point that either the Father or Satan can get in through you. So you're either on one side or the other side. And if you're not on one side or the other side, you're the lost sheep in the middle that are just aimlessly following someone. Right? And the one side versus the other side just means you're really in the middle. Because Satan is going to be forgiven too. Unconditional love. Right? Satan's only doing what he's told. How about that? Satan's only doing what he's told. If he's not, then whatever God you're following made a mistake in the garden. He told somebody not to do something. They did it anyway. Satan tricked him. He had to fix it. Or if you have that God that you're praising, that you're like, he's the all-knowing. He never changes. He's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Then that's not the God of that garden story. I'll tell you that much. That's not the God of the garden story. That's not free will. By telling me I can't eat something. That's not free will. That's a trick. That's a trick. And now if you look at it on, evil is going to be used for good. It was a good trick. It freed our minds. It broke us out of the enslavement of Satan's spell, so to speak. Right? Satan realized we were just as smart as him. We were just as powerful as him. But see, we lacked the understanding because we started separating from the Father at that moment. We started saying, oh my God, I fucked up, so I can't really go see the Father. I'm going to just keep walking this way. Right? It's almost like the tax collector in the Bible story, and the Pharisee, right? In the tax collector, oh my God, Jesus, I know I'm a sinner. I know I'm a sinner. If you even just find a little bit of room in your heart for me, I could accept it, but I understand the other way, right? Then you got the Pharisee come up. Thank God I'm not that guy. Who you think the Father heard? The Father heard the one, right? The one that thinks he's down and out, and damn, I'm a horrible person. I'm an evil man. I hate my life. Father, I notice I'm a sinner. I'm a horrible person. And the Father's like, no, you're not. You're not a horrible person. You're just going with what you were told. You're going with what you were taught. But if you look to me, I will give you all of that. All of it. All of it. I didn't make you to work, right? Imagine you were the creator. You create yourself to eat. You'll be dependent upon food. You'll be dependent upon air to breathe, right? If you created yourself, would you not be able to fly? Would you not be able to walk on water? Like if you created yourself, right? So if you can make yourself all the imagination you can, if you were the creator, how much more do you think the creator has in you? Right? The reason Jesus had to come and why he said in the Bible where he said no one listened to the other prophets, they just killed them off. That's because no one has stood up like Jesus in essence. No one has stood up for the truth and said, I'm going to take this shit to the grave. Right? In the Old Testament, there was Elijah. He was all, he was big and bad in the beginning. He done killed all the other the priestly people of Jezebel and Ahab. And she was out. She put a contract on his life, and all of a sudden he's scared again. He done prayed to the Father to bring fire down on the wettest stuff. They poured water after bucket of water on the stuff that he was supposed to ignite. And now he's running scared after this happens. The earth opens up and swallows people, and now he's running for his life from Jezebel. That's why Jesus had to come. That's why there was only one messenger, right? Everything else is just someone else's ideology or opinion of what they know, but they can't explain. Right? No one can explain to you why you open and close your hands. No one can explain to you why you blink your eyes. They can give you assumptions. They can give you their opinions, but no one knows for sure. Because what the opinions and stuff they're giving you doesn't make sense to the fact that it just happens. Right? Oh, they say, oh, well, your brain wave, you have the thought, the brain wave sends a signal over to the nerves and the muscles, and then the fingers. This is a long ass, this is a paragraph. This is a 45-minute lecture on what happens when I open and close my hand, but yet it happens in a split second. Right? It happens. I just thought about it. I didn't even think about it as happening. Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I just right? I blink my eyes. Sometimes you involuntarily do shit too. Right? But no one can explain it. They only can give you their opinions. That's why there's no cure for. Listen, watch. And I think they're talking about it already in the news. There's going to be a new vaccine for those that got vaccinated. Why? Because it always runs out, right? There's a new flu shot every year. So what do you thought the vaccine was going to do? You're going to need a new vaccine every year. And sadly, we're still at COVID-19. I'm just saying. Right? You're going off assumption of truth, and it's not truth at all. You're putting your faith in these people that you think are qualified. But most of the trades that we have in the world today, 500 years ago, there was no one qualified. 1,000 years ago, there was no one qualified to our standards. When the Egyptians built the pyramids, there was no one qualified, and the people that are qualified today can't redo the pyramids. That's how much truth they know. And you're not seeing it. You got to wake up to that. That's how much truth they do not know, is that they say they're qualified, but yet can't reconstruct anything from the past. Or tell you an exact way of how they did it with confidence, and it happened this way 100%. They can't tell you this. They tell you theories on how they got the bricks in place. They'll tell you theories on how they got it from all the way across the land. They'll tell you theories on how they may have brought it across the Nile. They'll tell you all these theories, but no one will ever sit there and say, well, this is the truth. I'm going to sit here and tell you what I'm saying is the truth. You need none of this stuff. Everyone's lying to you. And the only way to get to where your life truly needs to be is to look within yourself, sit down for 5 minutes a day in a quiet time and just say, Father, show me. And I promise you, he will. He will. And it ain't going to be, and it's going to be evident. It's going to be right in your face. But see, Satan's going to be there too, trying to distract you every step of the way. More hours at work. Your wife's on your case now. Your kids are crazy. They're all tripping out. You can't get 5 minutes to do anything. It's going to happen. And then you know you're on the right track. Because if your life is in a comfortable position and you're living La Vida Loca, guess what? You're doing exactly what Jesus said. Hey, they're doing what they're doing in Noah's day, just marrying, partying, chilling, having their debates about their education, saying who's smarter or not. But then the world's falling apart right around them, and they don't even realize it. And they're the reason for it. Right? Why is not our goals in the world to bring free energy to everyone, water to everyone, food to everyone, at least at minimum? But no, we got to get donations and we got to start this organization and this organization so that we can get people to come together. No, just come together. Right? Just like I say about politics and laws. You're making laws to try to change equality. How is that even possible? Just like, how can you fight for your rights and make a law to say, yes, this is my right to be me? That don't even make sense. You didn't ask to be here. You didn't ask to be born. And I'm pretty sure if you wanted to ask to be born, now that you're in life and you're like, oh man, I would have asked to be born, you probably wouldn't be born into the life you're in. You would want better things for you, no? You want different, like you don't want struggles and pain and people dying in your life. You want positive growth, right? Not more pain, more sorrow. Someone else is starving today. Some little kid can't eat. Right? That's, man, I wish. And then the money is downfall, right? The money is everything else, but what it really is. And the downfall is that we really don't have faith in our creator. We claim a God. There's many people out there claim a God, but don't really believe in that God. They think their practices and they're praying 85 times a day and doing this a certain way and doing that. He didn't write that down. And you're not following the story, because if you follow the story, Moses stopped talking to God after the 10 Commandments, and he started taking counsel from the Midianites, his father-in-law, all of Abraham's other sons' tribes that surrounded all the other tribes. Right? Abraham's children were part of Assyria too. There became a point where there was a king that was part Midian and part Assyrian. So either way, they were all intertwined. And listen, in the Bible, God called Abraham father of many nations, not father of one nation. And even if you want to say, well, Israel's many nations, no, they're not. They're all one nation, are they not? They're the 12 tribes of Israel, not the 12 different nations that make up Israel. They make up the nation Israel, and they're 12 tribes. So that's only one nation. Where's the other nations for Abraham? God's word believer in the Bible. Where's that dude? Where's the other nations? Oh man, maybe it's in his other 7 sons. Maybe it's in his other 7 sons. Right? If it wasn't for Esau conquered someone. Yeah, when Israel was fighting and stuff, Esau came in, the Edomites. The Edomites came in and conquered people for them. So if it wasn't for, or when here we go. When they didn't want to go into the land, when they got scared of going into the land, the Edomites went into the land and started conquering shit. Right? So the father just, that God just changed up people. Yeah, we're going to go with Esau. Damn Jacob's side. And when you get deep into like Moses and Aaron, you'll find out they were 2 separates. Aaron was from the Judah part of Israel, but they just Judah, I guess, right? And Moses was down with the ones that got captivated in Egypt. That's why Moses is only legendary. He's not a historical figure at all. You find out most of the Old Testament was written in the 4th century AD or Common Era. So keep that in mind, right? Everything that we have written today, we have no originals. We have writings of people who wrote it, just like in history. History, the main name you always hear popped up is Herodotus. Herodotus. I think it's Herodotus. And then some scholars think he's full of shit. He was making up stuff. He was exaggerating, but he's the only source to a lot of stuff. And he wrote about him a whole bunch of stuff after the fact, though, too. Like a lot of stuff that they call history and ancient history are things written after the fact. Buddha was written down 200 years after the fact by somebody else. Now, Buddha is a historical person, though. We could trace his bloodline. We know where his body's at. All those factors come into play there. Right? But then there's other historical figures that you're like, what? And there's no proof of them at all. There's just hearsay and the rumors. Just hearsay and rumors, right? There was a point in our history that people did start documenting stuff the right way, but it was still manipulated, right? There's a 5th century Bible that it doesn't say to Jesus when he got baptized. He said, "You are now." God can't open the clouds. The dove landed on his shoulder and said, "You are now my child, not my only begotten son. You are now my child." And that's the same thing he's going to say to you. You are now my child. All right. And that's in the 5th century gospel. That was, I think it was a pope that had that, I'll give you some more information on that. There's a guy. It was in a certain church. Oh, another thing with Sparta. All of a sudden you hear a whole bunch about Corinth, right? Corinthians. They were over there in Sparta. And they had different ideologies too. So that's what the struggle with Paul was. But I'm going to leave it with that. I just wanted to come out, talk a little bit about history and that everything is a lie. Every single thing. Yes, everything is a lie. It's a misconception. It's only assumptions and it's only opinions of other people trying to tell you something about something they can't tell you about, like opening and closing your hand, right? How did it happen? Why did it happen? Right? And a lot of the ancient history or the other history on the other side of Hebrews and Israelites on what was going on in their time, and then the other stuff that was going on around them and surrounding places. You don't hear about Judah. You don't hear about Israel. You don't hear about nothing. You hear other names. So maybe they were named something else. And that even proves my point. That means they were named something else in somebody else's book. So somebody made up this book and made the name. Come on, clubs do it all the time. A new club comes out, they make their mantra and their rules, and that's what happens in our societies, right? People build cities and then they get big and other people join, then they make rules, and the rules aren't bad rules. This is not all the time, right? But then the people all of a sudden give authority to these few people, and then next thing you know, these few people are like, yeah, you got to give me your wife before you marry her, and you got to give me this before that. That's what happens because they're only about what they want. It's got to be for the all or nothing. It's got to be for everyone, not just someone, right? I can't accept the fact the world says, hey, I'm not, the world's ending and I'm not selected. Not that I would mind to be selected. I would give up my spot anyway for somebody else. But the point being, who selected the ones that are going? That's my problem. Who the hell are they? The richest? The so-called smartest, but they can't figure out nothing? Come on. And then you hear, and within history too. Last thing, within history too, you hear about real people that really came with like Tesla, the scientist guy, the inventor guy. He came out with some stuff. He wanted to give it to the world. No, you can't do that. What? Can't give the world free electricity. Can't give the world Wi-Fi. He's doing it now. Do your research. Tesla is the reason why we have Wi-Fi, probably even 5G. Okay, Thomas Edison was a thief. Okay, he is not the guy of electricity. You need to know that. That's the part of the lie. Like, these are people that are in a club. Thomas Edison was a part of a Freemason club. I think he was a 33rd degree Mason. So all these people, all a part of the same club. What do you think is going on here? That's what you got to ask yourself. What do you think is going on here when everybody's a part of the same club? Everyone got their, listen, you could go to the top scientist and what he believes, and there's going to be another top scientist disagreeing with him. That's what I'm saying, right? These are stories that if you can't prove it, there's no reason to believe it at all. At all. You can test fire. Shit, it's hot. Yes, it's hot. Burn me. Shit. Yes. Oh, shit, I put an ice cube on my neck. It's cold. Whoa, I can test that. Right? I can test that. Hey, what about the pollution levels? I can't test the pollution levels, right? Even if they said it's like, oh, my lungs is all messed up from the pollution. How am I supposed to know? Because I went to the doctor and they told me. That's how. I didn't know other than that. And if that's the case, where were the doctors 1,000 years ago? And how did people get to where we are today? If we were dying so young and diseases was everywhere and health was down, Come on. No. Health is down now, and it's down only because that's how they make money. You can't make money off of healed people. You can't make money off of people that ain't sick. You can't make money off of people you didn't give cancer to. You can't make money off of people you gave diseases to. You can't make money on a cure. That's no. And even if I had a cure for something, if I just all of a sudden I found a cure, I'm giving it free to everyone. Why? That's what I'm doing now. I'm bringing a cure. I'm bringing a cure to life. That's what I'm doing right now with these videos. This is the cure to life. The cure to life is forget everything you know, because everything you know was a lie. Santa Claus, when you were a kid, right? Was he a lie? Lie. That's the same thing as everything else in the world. Same thing is everything else in the world, especially if you're Christian and you got a Christmas tree in your house. There's a book in the Old Testament. I'm not even going to tell you what book. There's a book in the Old Testament that tells you that's an evil pagan tradition to have a tree in your house. I'm just saying. It's the holiday season. That's the problem. He's thinking all these holidays is like rooted in. I want to listen. If Christmas was an Adam and Eve day, I would have been doing it. They had that. That's what they said in Genesis. I possibly will be still celebrating that holiday, but I'm not celebrating. I only celebrate my birthday. Why? I believe I'm never gonna die. Life doesn't die. Life lives forever. To me, energy never dies, does it? Solar panels, the energy just keep going. Keep circulating. That's what life does too. My problem is I want to remember who I am now. I want this consciousness, and I'm ready. Whatever it takes, Father. Whatever it takes, I'm willing to do. I'm ready to do. Just like video. I don't even want to do these videos. He's been pressuring me hard. Sleepless night hard. And just making me read stuff because I won't make a video. And then he'll just make me curious about something, and I'll just be reading the whole time. All right, you're going to do it sooner or later. There's going to be something that's going to make you start putting these videos up. And now I'm here. Right? But I'm here. There's nothing holding me back now. I let it all go. Just like I empty my glass every day. I let it all go every day. And every day, Jesus comes back to me. Every day, truth comes back to me. Every day, the Father comes back to me. And when I say Jesus comes back to me, the point of his truth, that's what comes back to me every single time, right? He comes back to me and says, you're right. It's love for the all. He says, you're right. What could stop racism? Love for everyone. Not this life matters, all life matters. No. So how can we separate it and divide it? Oh, no, only this kind life matters. Only this kind. No, it can't be divided up like that's the Satan. Satan divides against himself without dividing against himself, because he can't divide against himself because everything is beneficial to him. Right? Jesus said you can't be lukewarm. He'd rather you be down with Satan than lukewarm. Seriously, look it up. Jesus said that in scripture. He'd rather you be down with Satan than lukewarm, because lukewarm, you're just fucking lost. At least if you're down with Satan, you know the truth. That's what I'm saying. If you're a Satanist, right? Applaud the Satanists. They know the truth. They're with you. They're on your side. They're just your enemy, so to speak. They believe in God just like you do. They know the same stories just like you do. I'm just saying. And they'll see the Father in you just like you'll see the Satan in them, so to speak. You'll see it. But they make, the Satanist makes Christianity relevant in essence. They believe in Satan, you believe in God. All right, I believe in the superheroes, you believe in the villains. But both are just as bad in essence, so to speak. When it comes to the good versus evil thing, God ain't good. God is incomprehensible. If he's incomprehensible, that means there's nothing on this earth that's going to make him comprehensible to us. So no one knows truth. Things can direct you in a way of thinking that's going to bring you the truth. Like once you find out, you do your research on the Bible and you find out there's a lot of things they didn't tell you, right? Like it's supposed Moses wrote the 5 first books, but now it's proven he did not write the first 5 books. Stories in the Old Testament are also stories that were originated before Moses. Sorry, right? Moses wrote about the flood. Guess what? There was flood stories all over the place. Gilgamesh, the poem of the Epic of Gilgamesh talks about a flood. There was a Hindu flood. Buddhists have a flood. Everybody has a flood story. Every civilization on all corners of the earth have a flood story. Creation stories all over the place. One man was created through a flower. Then we have our biblical account. We have some moon dust or something like that. Another one, I think there was some feces involved. Like there's so many creation stories. It's not even funny. And they date. Well, I don't agree with their dating either, but they date before the Bible. These are things you got to recognize. If you don't recognize, like especially in Jewish literature, a lot of things are rabbis that came by giving their interpretation. Right? Do you know they all write their Torahs? Like if they're real religious, they'll write their own Torah. They'll have a party before they finish the last line. And they write the last lines in at the party. When they finish it, they write their own Torah. So you don't think no one wrote their own first five books? They all do it. In certain circles of the Jewish sect, they write their own damn Torahs individually. So if they do that, come on, you got listen. Nothing's different from today than thousands of years ago, especially when it comes to who we are as people. There's always been wicked people, good people, thieves, murderers, jealous, insecure, selfish, thinking they're better and we're the powerful ones. You got to bow down and worship me. There's always been like this. So then you got to put that into everything, right? There's no one telling a history story that's not benefiting who's telling the story, right? Show me a history book that says we lost the war. Besides, I guess, Vietnam, right? We lost Vietnam. But show me an old book. Right? And then even probably in our story about Vietnam, there's somewhere along the lines we wiggle out of it's our fault. Right? Germany was never involved in the World War at first. He was inserted later on. I'm just saying. But when the way they tell it to us is like Germany started it, and they didn't. They were doing their own Raiders of the Lost Ark shit. They wasn't concerned with us. They were making their own technology. They were making their own way of life without the centralized banking system, without those that minority that wants to control the world. And that's what really drives everything. All right, you break off from that system, just like if you're going for fame, want to be that actress or a singer or something. Listen, if you're not going to submit to the rules of the game, they are not going to have you there long. And the only way you even made it there is if you really have talent. Straight up, because half of the people that's in there don't even have talent. They're made up characters. That's all it is. Watch the Truman Show. This is all a show. This is all a freaking show. Okay, I got a video that it shows all the news people saying the same. CNN, Fox News, BBC, all of them, all the news stations that comes. And you probably seen it too. It came out years ago, and it just I forgot what incident. Maybe I forgot what was going on that day. But either way, it's all scripted. Right? They're not, listen, it's all scripted. News is scripted. Why? Because they need people watching. It's all about you watching and being distracted and thinking you need this or that or this to live or that to survive. Right? I'm not, listen, if we lost all our conveniences today, it would suck probably, because now we got to go back to walking 18,000 miles to get somewhere. Cool. I'm good with that though. Right? We could get there again maybe. And maybe this time we'll get there with some niceness. And some like real energy things and things that we're not going to have to sacrifice for, because that's what the problem with people are. They're willing to sacrifice someone else to get ahead, no matter how in a good way and a bad way. If our soldiers are going off dying in wars that make no sense, they're willing to sacrifice, right? Oh, that's casualties of war or an innocent thing happening. Well, we're going to have to bomb it anyway. Let's kill 265 people over there in the Middle East just because the world trade went down. Just saying, right? What's right, what's wrong? No one really knows that either. So no one knows truth and no one really knows what's right and wrong. You can feel it. You can feel what's right and wrong, right? You know it's not nice to beat the shit out of somebody. You know it's not nice to take something without asking. You know it's not nice to physically try to get something from somebody else. That's not nice. That's not nice. Right? But then you look at a Robin Hood movie and like all these people holding, the government's holding people down. Now Robin Hood comes out, starts taking shit from the king and giving it to the regular people. You're like, yeah, that's good, but he's still doing bad. Right? Because you don't have to stoop down to their level. Right? That's what the world does. The world becomes the enemy to conquer the enemy. What do I mean by that? I mean they invade the people. It's not about the fight. I wish people understood that. It's really not about that fight. No one wins the fight. And if there was a fight that people were winning, it was way back in the day. And they stopped that. They stopped the heroes and shit because the heroes drove wars. And just like in the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, and when Brad Pitt caught an attitude and was like, I ain't fighting no more, they started losing. And not until his cousin died, he got mad again and said, oh, I'm going to whip his ass. And then he killed not Oscar, what the hell was his name? Hector, the prince, and then they won the war. Right? They know how they win war. That's why I say no one was enslaved by choice. It wasn't like no other people group came to another people group, whipped their ass and said, you're my slaves now. The people that are true died as slaves. Because it's your life. Right? And like I said, the Father needed you to be here. Your God needed you to be. You don't need him. He needs you. And it's not in a bad thing. It's not oh my God, he said he don't need God. It's not like that. The Father needed you though, right? The Father didn't want to be alone. Just like he said in the Genesis with Adam, it's not right for man to be alone. The Father was alone. The Creator was by himself. That's why he created a creation to share with. But the only way we can share is by understanding his understanding. And that understanding is simple. Love all. No one's fault for anyone being here. Forgive them, for they know not what they do, because they were led to be like that. Right? Yes, they hung Jesus on the cross. Why? Because he was feeding people for free. Right? I said all that. He was doing all these things. Taking money out of people's mouths. They knew nothing else but that. That's why Jesus had to come. No one was getting the message. From Adam till Jesus, there was no one getting the message. Everyone was just following behind the king. So much so that even God's own people that he chose said, I want a king. Everyone's following this powerful figure that's in our physical realm when they mean shit. They bleed just like we do. But it's okay for one of us to be in the degree of aim when someone's trying to snipe them out so they can live. That makes no sense. Makes no sense. Jesus didn't walk around in no bubble like the Pope. The Pope needs a bulletproof bubble thing. Jesus didn't need a bulletproof bubble. Martin Luther King didn't need a bubble. He walked until he was over. That's it. That's what you do. That's how you run the race. Life has no hold on you. The only fear that's really keeping you is you're scared to die. But life doesn't end. It can't. And especially if you believe in any of these religious books, then you're missing the fucking message, because everyone lives. They're all fighting for eternal life. They're all telling you the procedures and what you got to have. Pray this thing, do that, do this, and you'll be there. The problem is you don't need to do any of that. This is someone making it up that can have hold of you to keep their people fighting for the cause. But the cause is irrelevant to the situation because we're all under the same cause. Everyone wants to be free, I'm pretty sure. Everyone wants to be comfortable. Everyone wants food on their table. Everyone wants to have that life of no worrying for tomorrow, and I have. But you're not willing to give it to who gave you what you got. And though you didn't ask to be here, you didn't ask to be born, he brought you into this life because he knows your potential on how he can get his mission accomplished. Because it's all on you. If you can just swallow your tongue and not curse that guy out that's cursing you out and just bless him. Peace be with you, my friend. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. If you can just drive through traffic and say, you know what? I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. If you got that bill and you ain't got the money, you just, you know what? I'm going to just rest in you, man. I know you got my back. And then even if I don't get that rent, I know you got a place for me. That's what he's asking for. If I had a broomstick in my hand, because I used to always do it at a job, I'll just drop the broom. When I'm talking to people, I'm like, listen to this is what the Father wants you to do. Drop the broom, walk away. Got to understand truth. The truth is every job in the world is on somebody else's downfall, period. The reason why prices go up is because of people. We need raises. We need more money. We can't do this like this no more. We're not getting paid enough. But then you don't understand the parable when Jesus says, hey, there was a guy that owned the field that hired some workers and he paid everyone that day the same wage. So it didn't matter what time you started, he paid you the same. And people had a problem with that. People been there since 8 o'clock in the morning. The guy that got there at noon got more money, the same money as them, but they did more work. No one asked you to do it. I told you my option. This is what we're going to do. You start at 8. All right, I'm going to pay you this at the end of the day. Right? Somebody started at 12. I'm going to pay you this at the end of the day. And then more importantly, put yourself in that person's shoes and how much would you pay someone? Because there's a lot of people out there who would be shaving off the payments of their employees on their hourly wage. I promise you. Okay, there's too many selfish people out there for anyone to be bitching about how much you're getting paid at a job, and then you get control of that job, and I want to see how much you're going to pay people because you don't know the science of it. In essence, there's a game. This is a game. Can't just pay people, then people will be good. Duh. You got to keep people at a steady growing rate. That's what inflation is. We got to keep them at a steady growing rate because if they get too much at one time, they might realize they don't need us. Everyone started with their own. Just keep that in mind. Everyone started with their own little farmland, whatever they were doing. There wasn't like starving people like that. People starve now, right? Or were starved out from war or something like that. People don't starve. People wasn't starving back in the day. People had their own ability to go out and get what they needed. Not from a store, not from some dude, not from a doctor. They went out and got what they needed. They were more close to the Father than any of us. We are so far removed from the Father, it's not even funny. Our physical world controls everything. And the Father brought us into this world to conquer the physical world. To tell the physical world you have nothing on what the Father has. Your temporary possessions mean nothing to me. Your gold is only a rock. Your diamond is only a rock. Your silver, your metal is only rocks. Your money is only paper. Especially now. There's no real worth in anything you're holding in your pocket or telling you that's worth. In the 20s, it came crashing down, did it not? It can come crashing down again. If there was other kingdoms and nations out there, they came crumbling down too. Didn't Rome just go through something? Didn't Greece just go through? Didn't Venezuela just go through something? Right? Wasn't governments crashing down? Come on. Rome crashed down from inside. They sold all their gold to India for salt. Look it up. That's how Rome went financially broke. Is they sold everything. They gave all their gold for salt from India. And with that, I'm going to leave you with that. I love you guys. Thank you, Freedom Fighter, for sticking in. I'll be emailing you soon. I saw this other video. I got to email you. Everyone that watches the video, like, subscribe. Let's get the message out there. There's another guy I just started following. He's reading some Nagamati stuff too. He's in my little list. And that's about it. I'm going to come out with a new intro video soon. I'm still working on a couple other videos. The editing thing is not my thing. I like doing live stuff, but I'm trying to do some just like shorter videos with just some points on it. But have a good night. Peace be with you. I love you. And until next time, see you again.